thou shalt not steal, or you shall not steal. That seems simple. Again, we're getting into these that every one of them is like, well, yeah, I think we all agree with that. We all, we don't want to get ripped off. That's why we have locks on the doors. That's why we, try to, protect the things that we have, because we don't want people to steal from us. And you shouldn't steal. I should not be able to go over there and just take Orion's cookie. As much as I want to, I should not be able to go and do that. And why shouldn't I be able to do that? Why is that something that is a commandment? Why is that something that is important? Have we thought about that? Why commandments are commandments? Why 10 of them were picked as these are important? Remember that the Israelites are fresh out of a town of slavery, a lifetime of slavery. They are rebuilding a community. In a sense, they are a new church plant. They are out there in the desert trying to figure it out. And what God is trying to do is develop a community. And what are the things that help develop a community? Things that keep us, what did you say? Rules. Yeah, they are rules. That you have to have some sort of conditions of, okay, let's not do this and let's do this and all of that kind of stuff. And this is actually kind of bizarre. This one is actually a little bit different than some of the others in a way that the stealing, theft in this climate, in this era, among other people, other cultures, other tribes, could be punishable by death. You could actually get killed for stealing. If I stole Orion's cookie, there's a couple of things that could happen to me. One, I could be killed. Two, I could be mutilated. In other words, the very thing that I used to steal his cookie could actually be cut off. You could cut the hand off. And I'm sad to say that in some cultures, that still exists. It's a very big no-no. But in Israelite culture at this time, it wasn't. It wasn't something that was punishable by death. It wasn't something that was punishable by mutilation. It was something that was punishable by retribution. You had to repay what you stole. And if you couldn't repay it, then you had to be a servant of that person until the debt was paid off. So it was about reconciliation in many ways. If you got caught stealing, you were called to reconcile with that. And now that's an interesting thing, because it's not a punishable thing where we just cut it off. It's a thing where it shows that God is saying, if you do something to somebody else, I want you to try to work through it. I want you to pay back and try to restore what was lost. Because the Israelites, what they believed is that every one of your possessions, even that cookie, was a gift from God. That everything that you owned, everything that you were, was a gift from God. And so by stealing something, you were actually taking something that was given by God. And God does not want to punish you for taking that by killing you. He wants you to work it out. He wants you to restore, and He wants you to rebuild that. This is starting to show the makeup of community. This is starting to show the makeup of who we are right now. And this is where we are screwing up. Because we keep wanting to punish people, and we keep wanting to villainize, we keep wanting to put people into a place. How dare you take my cookie? And cookie could mean anything. It could mean your house, it could mean breaking in, it could mean victimizing, it could mean all of that stuff. But God calls us to be able to right the wrong. Now, we always think of, when we think of stealing, as something that they're doing, not us. We think of something that we want to protect ourselves from, right? We put the locks on our door, we put the little camera on our doorbell. That's got to be annoying to delivery people, especially if they have a bad hair day. It's just like now everyone has recordings of it. But it's about protecting our things. It's about protecting our stuff. When we think of thievery, we think of, thou shalt not steal from me. Don't take my cookie. But there's a way, I think, that every one of us Every one of us has stolen. Some of these commandments, they go on as you read into further into the story, into the Bible. There's a little bit more explanation to these stories. There's times when they'll take the commandment and they will expand on it a little bit with a little bit of explanation. And sometimes we don't read the explanation. We're in a culture that, man, we hate to read anything. We just like that little headline, just throw that meme on us, give us that GIF, just make us either happy or angry, and we don't want to read anything further. We want to just be sucked into every conspiracy theory. We want to be sucked into everything that we want to hate. We want to be sucked in, but we don't want to read anything that involves facts. Well, this shows us that even back then, people knew that things needed to be explained a little bit. We wanted to go deeper, and God calls us to go deeper, to take a further look at things. And so this is included here in Leviticus. You shall not defraud your neighbor. You shall not steal. And you shall not keep for yourself the wages of a laborer until morning. You shall not revile the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. There is a theme going on here that involves stealing. Stealing is grouped into something here. It's about respecting one another. That was so important to God, and it still is. It's about respecting someone else. It's about not defrauding. I mean, they talk about not defrauding. They talk about not taking advantage of one another. Because when you are taking advantage of one another, when you are lying, when you are just deceiving somebody, even if you are hired somebody and you withhold wages from that, God says you are stealing. You are robbing people of their dignity. And that is huge. This is a time when a lot of gods were feared, and a lot of gods were just assumed that they were angry at people. We are witnessing a God that is saying, I not only love you, but I want to make sure that you are respected. It's not just about survival. It's about dignity. It's about being treated with kindness, with respect. It's about truly loving our neighbor. And that's what this is all about. And we even go into people with disabilities. It's not about God saying, you have a disability, if you believe, you'll be just like these people. It's actually about God saying, whoever you are, however unique you are, you deserve respect. You deserve kindness. You deserve inclusion. When we do not do that, we're stealing. We are robbing people of their dignity, of who they are. And we are doing that a lot these days. We are in a time where people want to just say, do I matter? And we want to say conditionally. Or we want to say, yeah, but what about them? If one of your children came up to you and said, do I matter? Would you say, everybody does? Or would you say, yeah, you do? Because at that time, he's asking, she's asking, do I? And we have taken something to the effect of just somebody saying, look, it's been hard for us. Do we matter? And some of us, we want to steal that from them. We have people that want to live a life of who they are, just to be their honest self. Whatever the characteristic may be, they just want to be them. And we as a church for thousands of years have said you can't be that. When we have a message so old that says treat people with dignity and kindness and include them, make them know that they are loved by God, and if you are not doing that, you are stealing from them. Because, remember, everything that we have is given to us by God. That means even who we are. That means our race. That means our lifestyle. That means our culture. And anytime that we try to deny somebody that or disrespect somebody that, we are stealing that gift from God. Are we ready to stop that? Are we ready to say, yes, you matter, and I support you for that? Are we ready to say, I hear you? Are we ready to say, I stand with you? Are we ready to say, you are welcome here? A lot of people say no. We have a child walking across right now. Actually, we have a child leaving. He's going to the car. Thought he had the keys. If you're going to Scooters, get me a chai latte. However that child grows, are we there for that child? And if you're watching online, you may not have seen that child. And it doesn't matter. I'm talking about every child. Every color, every race, every lifestyle, every culture. Are we there for that child? Are we there? Are we giving? Are we caring? You know, the Israelites in this time even had a rule that if you were farming the land, you had to leave a percentage of your growth so that people that were in need could come and get it. And today we feel like if people are in need or on special things or anything like that, that they're robbing from us. That's biblical. You're supposed to give part of who you are to people who need it. No questions asked. The fields, if you worked a field at that time, a percentage of your crops were supposed to be left for the poor and for what they called in the Bible, the alien. The person that was not part of your community. The outsider. And you were not supposed to stand there and say, all right, show me your card. Show me that you deserve this sandwich. You were supposed to just leave it and walk away. And let whoever needed it come and get it. Now, that is not stealing. But if we do not give them, if we do not acknowledge that, if we do not leave some for people that need it, then we're stealing. Because that's a gift from God. If every one of us, who we are, is a gift from God, how are we trying to steal that from one another? Before Orion plays a song, I would just want to ask this question. And Orion, if you can play like 20 seconds of music. Why do we steal? Why do we feel the need to take the dignity, the rights, the respect, the kindness, the gift from God, from others? And how can we give that gift back? Let's just think about that question for about 20 seconds. Why is Neighbors here? Well, when we look back at the cost for stealing, it was all about restoration. It was all about righting the wrong. churches and Christians throughout centuries have stolen. They've stolen the dignity and the rights of other people. We can be part of that restoration. We can be part of righting that wrong. And the easiest way to do it is just by loving. Just by loving. May we love God. May we love ourselves. And may we love our neighbors. Every single one of them. Amen.